Hey, fourth graders. I'm here to read again with you. This time we're going to read chapters 16, I think, through 18. Hopefully it won't be too much time. We'll see how it goes when I read aloud. Yesterday we left off learning a little bit more about Ludmilla, and we found out that her brother Amar had died in Afghanistan. And then we also found out that they were war orphans, meaning that they had lost their mom and dad and became in from the war, and then became orphans. So we're going to hopefully, learn a little bit more about her as we keep reading here in the upcoming chapters. So here we go, chapter 16. The next morning, Ludmilla wakes us early. "Time to rock and roll, sleepyheads," she says, and the little dog curled up on a pillow on the floor near Joel yips at her. I look out the window at nothing but gray fluff. The whole mountain is covered in mist. I'm sorry to say goodbye. I would have liked to stay and learn about the infrared telescope. I'd like to see how they cool it down. The students said they use liquid nitrogen and that it's both really cold and really cool. I'd like to spend more time outside with Joan, learning the constellations, and waiting for GHO to swoop by. The morning mist is like moist cotton pasted onto our faces. "Never fear, I know this trail like the back of my hand," Dr. Joan shouts over her shoulder as she revs the truck engine with a roar. Ludmilla is in the back with the twins huddled against either side of her. The dog is in her lap. Davis is looking nervously out the far window. I claim shotgun because of motion sickness, also because I think I like Dr. Joan. It seems funny how I thought we were going to get killed in a colt, but instead it was fine. And the someday birds list looks like this now. Bald eagle, great horned owl, check. Trumpeter swan, sandhill crane, turkey vulture, emu, passenger pigeon, Carolina parakeet. Joan keeps thinking of more things to yell back to Ludmilla. I wish she'd keep her eyes on the foggy road. "You'll have to stock up on food," she yells, and the truck goes veering off to the left. The waste tank should be okay, and we skid one tire over the brink into the abyss. "What's a waste tank?" asks Jake, which makes Ludmilla smile in a weird way. "Old Betsy ain't the Ritz, but it should get you there and back in one piece," shouts Dr. Jones. There and back? I never thought about coming back. Will we have our dad with us? And what will it be like once we're there in Virginia? An idea occurs to me. In Virginia, I'll be pretty close to the sanctuary marsh, to Tiberius Shaw's house. Maybe there will be a way to go see it, to go see him. When we get to the parking area at the base of the mountain, the twins and the dog jump out of the truck and walk over to inspect this thing everyone is calling Old Bessie. It's a faded old camper with an orange-brown stripe along the side. It has a bunch of windows with stiff plaid curtains. It looks like the last time someone drove it was a long, long time ago. Dr. Joan pats the bumper. "Old Bessie's up to it. Don't worry." Ludmilla takes the keys and we pile into the musty, narrow interior. There's a rubber mat running down the center. On one side is a small table of glossy honey-colored wood with built-in benches. On the other, a cooktop, small sink, wooden shelves, and cabinets. A tiny wooden door folds in, airplane style, to the toilet. I'm afraid to even peek at how bad that toilet is. I have a public bathroom rating system that I keep in my head, and anything that I think rates lower than 2 stars, I won't even enter. My heart starts thudding. I'm getting the cold sweats about this trip. At the end of the camper are 4 built-in bunks with blue mattresses on wooden platforms, 2 on each side. Dr. Joan hands us pillows and sleeping bags. There are 5 of us and only 4 bunks, I point out. I'll drive while you sleep, says Ludmilla, or the twins can double up now and then. The twins have already both crawled into a bunk. Cool, they say, sliding around on a disgusting, dusty blue mattress. It's like being in a submarine. Come, check it out. It smells like rubber and old rust. I don't know how I'm going to breathe in here, let alone sleep or go to the bathroom. I make my way back to the table bench, sit, and cup my hands over my nose and mouth, trying to block the rubbery smell. No use. I ratchet down the flimsy window by the table. My hands come away covered with crumbled spider webs and dirt. I flap them and start to scream. Start her up, shouts Dr. Jones, slapping the wall, then heading down the steps. Ludmilla turns the key. Grrr, chug, chug, chug. A cloud of stinky exhaust curls in through my open window. I jerk it shut again, coughing. You're off, shouts Dr. Joan, standing on the safe, nice ground outside. You're on your way, sweet old girl. I don't know if she means the camper or Ludmilla is a sweet old girl. I'm going to guess she means the camper. We wave goodbye as Ludmilla maneuvers us onto the bumpy dirt road, and then, eventually, just when I think I'll throw up, the highway. I just noticed one thing about this vehicle, at least that's sort of neat. Somebody custom painted the ceiling. It's all dark blue with silver constellations. I look for Libra, the scales. That's my sign. Joan showed it to me in the sky last night. I find it over Ludmilla's head, toward the front. Davis is humming along to something in her earphones. The twins are bunching up a blanket in the bunk to make Dog a safe nest. Dog is looking happier and happier since his rescue. He's lost that hunched up look. I think he's given it to me. How will I stand driving in the stinky, dirty rattle trap all the way to Virginia? I'm the only one feeling miserabler and miserabler. All right, chapter 17, and I'm going to show you this picture. It says owl holes and rules of distance. And you can see the trumpeter swan there in the picture. And chapter 17, it says resilience, repair, resurrection. The natural world is capable of all 3. If humans would only show a little redemption. Tiberius Shaw, Ph.D. As we head out of Laramie, Ludmilla pulls off the road and looks at her map. Here's the thing. If we take Interstate 80, we could go straight there almost, she says, pointing at a horizontal line due east. But what do you think? Look at this. She digs for her phone and hands it to Davis. Well, what's it say? Joel asks. Davis frowns. It says, tell the kids that all of Robert's initial test results are promising. He's doing great. Dr. Spielman says it's amazing how the brain can learn to rewire itself after injury. Brain plasticity, I think he called it. Dr. Spielman's an absolute wonder. Davis rolls her eyes and flaps her hand, imitating Graham. The tests continue. It's all status quo here, so don't rush. These poor kids have seen nothing but a waiting room all summer. Davis's voice slows down. So why don't you help them have fun? I'll wire you money. Do some things. Find ways to at least enjoy the trip. Lord knows, it'll all still be here when you arrive. Thanks again. Davis heaves a big sigh and claps the phone shut. We're all quiet for a little while. Then Davis says, have fun? Do things? I'd rather just get there already. How's it going to help Dad if we're just driving aimlessly around the country? She flops back into her seat. Ludmilla says, it might make your Gram feel better to know you at least had some good experiences amid all the worry of this summer. I have a thought. You know what, you guys? Dad and I had this list of birds to see someday, and we've already seen one. The great horned owl. There's 7 more on the list. I want to try to find some of the others for Dad. So maybe along the way we could go some places to do that, to find the birds on my list. Dad's someday birds. Oh, Lord, not birds. Davis scrunches up her face. The twins groan even louder. If we could check off all Dad's birds, I think he would really like it. I bet it would make him happy, which would help him feel better. It's something that we could do. Ludmilla and Davis make eye contact, and then Davis smacks herself in the forehead with the palms of her hands a few times. Ludmilla says, Charlie, that's sweet, but... Yeah, Charlie, says Joel. Checking birds off some dumb list is not going to help Dad feel better. It's only going to help you feel better. Silence spreads in the car. A small lump forms in my throat. Then Ludmilla says in a strange voice, Well, maybe that's a good enough reason. 2 fat raindrops splotch on the windshield, then more. Ludmilla turns on the wipers. So, where do we go, Charlie, to find your someday birds? The highway turnoff is coming up. We have to decide which direction. Don't worry, I tell them. I know just the place to start. Chapter 18. The quote says, Some bird species mate for life and stay together no matter what. Others seem to go through love affairs like changes of clothes. Tiberius Shaw, Ph.D. I start to get excited. We've passed a huge, flat, grassy field of elk, peacefully grazing. We've seen hillsides of burnt black tree skeletons, land that was once covered with trees. We've traveled along a dark forest road. Now we spy a wooden sign up ahead that announces the wondrous news. Welcome to Yellowstone. We're there. Tall evergreens make a canopy over us as we bump along another few miles. It's way different from San Diego's palm trees and beaches. Darker, more mysterious, cooler. Hey, says Joel, perking up and pointing out the window. Buffalo! Sure enough, off to the right through the trees, there's an open field full of shaggy brown monsters. I want to pet one, Jake says in the same lovey sing-song voice he uses with the dog. Very funny, says Davis. Those things are really dangerous. You can't get too close. And besides, I say, we're only here to find Dad's trumpeter swan. No one hears me. The RV campground is strewn with shiny silver bullet-shaped trailers, tiny pop-up tent trailers, giant black monster buses, all kinds of things. Folks have laundry lines with wet towels and underwear and hiking socks and stuff strung across them in the wan sunlight. There are bears here, right? Joel says. Yep, says Ludmilla. I think we were all hoping she would say, nope. We pull into a spot, and Ludmilla puts on the brake with a squeak. The twins spill out the door, chanting, Buffalo! Buffalo! Great, moans Davis, covering her eyes with her hands. It's bison, I explain. I take Dog down the steps on his leash. He limps over to pee on a brown log. The nice thing about having only 3 legs is he never has to lift that other back leg out of the way when he wants to pee. He just twists his hip and lets it go. What are we going to name this poor dog? I ask, but Joel and Jake are already racing around the campground. Come on, Charlie! Run to the field and back with us. First, we buy food and supply, Ludmilla says. Yes, I'm hoping they have a nice clean bathroom so I can wash the rubbery aroma of camper out of my nose. I refuse to use old Betsy's 1-star toilet, so I really have to pee and rinse my itchy, crawly hands. The convenience store is so far away from the campground, They should call it the inconvenience store. By the time we get there, my bladder is ready to burst. Ludmilla browses the aisles, muttering to herself in a language which I guess, according to what Dr. Joan told me, is Bosnian. While I fidget, holding the dog, she fills her basket with cans of chicken soup, with soggy flecks of green and orange in the broth, a reject, Granny Smith apples, I only do Honeycrisp, a reject, oranges, too tangy, reject, bananas, ugh, too many brown spots, Gagorama, reject, paper plates, cups, bowls, okay, no complaints, cereal, ugh, raisins, reject, skim milk, tastes like someone poured water over a cow, reject, orange juice, ugh, pulp, help, reject, bread, ugh, with seeds, reject, peanut butter, not my brand, reject, strawberry jam, more seeds, reject, and popcorn, which only gets stuck between your teeth. Who can eat this stuff? Reject! I make her buy me a box of frozen chicken nuggets. It's kind of expensive, and the box has that slick ice film, like it's been in the freezer too long. But I've got to eat something. Ludmilla's still wandering aisles, and I can't hold it in anymore. I head for the restroom behind the building, plus my hands are desperate with the need to be washed. I still feel unsteady on my feet from the long drive, and my head is wobbly spinny. That's what travel does to me. No one else realizes how hard it is. My dumb body gets pummeled by all this stuff that no one else even guesses at. The minute I open the door to the bathroom, I know I'm in trouble. It's a concrete cinder block with no toilet paper, and the soap dispenser is empty. Disappointing to say the least. Half star, 1 star at the best. But still, I pee. And I totally, absolutely, critically, urgently have to wash my hands. Not a soap rinse once, not a soap rinse twice, but soap rinse 1,000,000 times. But I can't. So there's nothing to do but take the dog and go back in the store. I am feeling so bad, so desperate, I blurt out to the clerk without even thinking it through, without even worrying about my words or how he'll react or anything. Please tell me where the best, cleanest bathroom in Yellowstone is. One you'd rate at least 3 stars. It's urgent. The clerk pulls at his beard and peers at me. Urgent? Well, the restrooms are probably better in the lodges. Old Faithful Lodge? He slides a brochure over the counter. It's worth checking out anyway. About 10 minutes by car. I turn to Ludmilla, desperate. Can we drive down to the Old Faithful Lodge right now? She squints at me from behind her thick black glasses. Later, Charlie. No, now! I can feel the germs actually crawling around on my hands. If I don't get a chance to wash, I don't know. I squint shut my eyes, breathe in, breathe out. I try to remember what Dad used to tell me. Drop your shoulders, take a deep breath, imagine a calm forest. Arrgh! We walk back to the RV area along a grassy field with bison grazing. There are woolly, brown, monstrous beasts, all right. I notice how the big ones keep the baby bison protected in the center of the herd. After we put this stuff away, can we come back out to see the buffalo? Bison, the twins ask. Are they tame? I say, no, we don't have time for bison. I need to wash my hands at the Old Faithful Lodge restroom, and then we need to go find Dad's trumpeter swan. But it's like I didn't even talk. Everyone's paying attention to the bison, not me. I sigh. You can smell their funky bison poop smell even way over here. What's so great about them? Davis says to Joel and Jake, what do you mean, are they tame? Are you kidding? Of course they're not tame. at this brochure. She flips it at us. It says you have to stay at least 25 feet away, so be careful. Give me your grocery bags, she says. Go on. Charlie, you go with them to see the bison and make sure they stay at least 25 feet back. We cross the road. The bison are behind a low, split-rail fence. They could jump it if they wanted to, or merely bulldoze it over. Instead, they're calmly grazing. Cars go right by them, slowing to watch, people craning their heads and arms out of the windows, snapping photos. The bison seem unbothered by everything. I wish I had that skill. I hold Dog tightly in my arms, which keeps him safe, and also helps me forget about my dirty hands. Something about holding him makes other stuff tolerable. The twins duck under the fence toward the herd. It smells so overpowering, I think I might faint. Let's pretend we're ancient Sioux trackers, Joel says. We're closing in for the kill. My silly brothers tiptoe in closer, circling around the herd of woolly brown giants. A grizzled bison at the edge of the herd looks out at them from one wild black eye and snorts. Remember what Davis said, you guys. The 25-foot rule, I shout. Something about the look in the eye of that big fellow is bothering me. I shift the Dog to one hip, loop his leash around my arm, and dig Davis's brochure out of my pocket. Come check him out, Charlie, says Joel. Don't be such a wuss. One just pooped. Yeah, rank, says Jake. Can you smell it? Are you just going to stay there and read a brochure, says Jake. You dork. I notice something. The old bison behind them at the edge of the herd has lowered its head and taken a step toward the twins. Then it stops, snorts, paws the ground, and goes back to grazing. Something doesn't seem right about this 25-foot rule of Davis's. I quickly skim the brochure to make sure. Big as they are, bison can sprint 3 times faster than humans can run. They are unpredictable and dangerous. No vacation picture is worth personal injury. If any wild animal changes its behavior due to your presence, you are too close. Do not approach wildlife, no matter how tame or calm they may appear to you in the moment. Always obey instructions for park staff on scene. You must stay at least 100 yards away from the bears and wolves and at least 25 yards away from all other large animals. Bison, elk, bighorn sheep, deer, moose, and coyotes. Consider it the rule of distance. I read it again to make sure. Why was Davis saying 25 feet? It's 25 yards, not feet. I look up just in time to see that old bison starts to lope toward the twins. I yell louder than I've ever yelled before. Joel! Jake! Run! They turn, see the beast, and jump straight up in the air. Then they each take off in a different direction. This is probably good because the bison doesn't know which twin to pursue. Finally, it chooses Jake. He's sprinting at a good clip toward the split-rail fence by the road, his face white, his little legs pumping like pistons, and the bison is bearing down on him at a slow trot. But Jake is fast. He's almost there. Please, God, I pray, let Jake make the hurdle. Let this bison not be in the mood for fence jumping today. Joel is safe down the other end of the pasture, shouting and waving his arms, but the bison is starting to lower its head. Like a bull in the ring, it gains speed, loping after my little brother. I hold my breath and pray, let Jake make the hurdle, let Jake make the hurdle, let Jake make it. And I'm jumping up and down, my hands flapping, and the dog is barking, and the bison is gaining ground on Jake. When suddenly, this teenage guy with a blonde ponytail comes up out of nowhere, running into the field to the left of Jake, blowing a whistle and waving a big red Yellowstone sweatshirt around. He catches the bison's eye. The big, brown, grizzled old thing slows and turns its giant head. Now it seems confused. It considers the sweatshirt. It pauses, then stops a moment. Finally, it decides to veer back toward the herd. Meanwhile, Jake jumps over that fence quicker than I've ever seen him move in his life. I stare at the ponytail guy who's standing there, holding the red shirt, panting hard. "You guys," I say to my little brothers. "You guys." I can't think of anything else to say to them. I'm in brain shock, my heart still pounding. Ponytail guy has something to say, though. He has a lot to say. "Are you two trying to get yourselves killed?" he yells. "Don't you know these are wild animals? You don't mess with bison, man." "Well, but we stayed 25 feet, pretty much," Joel panted out. I stabbed my finger at the brochure that just a few minutes ago they had called me a dork for reading. "It's not 25 feet, it's yards." "Whoa," says Joel. "That's more, right? That's like, what, 75 feet? Jake shakes his head. "Great, Davis, the math genius." "Who's Davis?" asked Blonde Guy. On cue, here she comes, running down the road with her long brown hair flying, sneakers flapping, face red. "You guys," she shouts, but she's not looking at the twins. Blonde ponytail guy stares at her like a deer in the headlights. "Are these your two maniacs, your brothers?" he says, grinning. His teeth are that weird blue-white, too bleached color. "I saw them and I came out running, and you're lucky I did. You know how dangerous that is, what they did? They were way too close. My older brother's a park ranger. If he'd seen this, he'd be reaming us all out big time." He holds out his hand to Davis. "I'm Tony." Davis's face is flushing really red. No one is remembering it was me, not Tony, who warned the twins to run. We didn't even need this guy with his stupid red sweatshirt. Probably. And didn't Davis just break up with Jonathan Dylan Daniels like 2 days ago? Why is she all red in the face, smiling and talking to a different boy already? "Oh my gosh, I'm so sorry," she says, flipping her hair. "We just literally rolled into Dodge. Haven't even had time to set up camp when these little guys ran off." "We didn't run off," I start to protest, but Tony cuts me off like I don't exist. He has a dimple in the direct center of his chin. "Oh, you just got here? Well, if you want, I could show you around. I work right here at the information center." He flashes his blinding blue-white teeth. Good griefus, as Graham would say. And that's where we'll stop today. I'll see you guys next time for Chapter 19. See you later. Have a great weekend. Bye.